Hi, I'm Angela Arnold from Work at Home Winners. I'm going to talk about how to eliminate telephone interruptions in your work at home business. Now, frequently people tell me, I just have to talk on the phone, people call, I have to deal with these calls. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can eliminate telephone interruptions in your work at home business. When you have a work at home business, you can avoid some, but not all of the distractions of a more public workplace. Nevertheless, you will still have to work diligently to eliminate telephone interruptions. The telephone is arguably still going to be the single most distracting thing you'll have to deal with when you work at home. So I'm going to offer you 5 suggestions that you can implement in your business today. This will get you off the phone in a timely manner and help you to tame that telecommunications monster. Number 1, make sure you have caller ID. This is an inexpensive feature. It's available on most phones, and it falls under the category of how did we ever do without it. Just knowing who's on the other end of the line will help you decide instantly which calls you really do need to take. Of course, the problem is if you have a very pleasant nature and you can't stand to let that phone ring without answering it, you're going to run into difficulty. But if you have caller ID, use it. It's going to save you a lot of time. Number 2, you should have an answering machine or a voicemail. Now for the answering machine, proper use of it is going to make sure that you help eliminate those telephone interruptions. I hope you're not one of those people who thinks that your answering machine is only meant to be turned on if you leave the house. No, I leave my answering machine on all the time. Repeat after me. The telephone makes a great servant, but it makes a terrible master. The telephone should not control your life. Turn on your answering machine and get to work on your home-based business, building up what you need to do. When you purchase an answering machine, make sure you have one where you can turn the volume down if you want to. That way you won't be disturbed by the phone ringing or by people calling. But if you're like me and you sometimes want to hear who's making those calls while they're leaving a message, you can do that. You can listen in to make sure that there's really not an emergency that you have to deal with right now. You're just going to leave the volume down and just listen a little. Number 3, make and return calls at a set time every day. It's very important that you block out scheduled blocks of time when you can return telephone calls. The reason is obvious. If you're in business, you need to return telephone calls, or you won't be in a work-at-home business for very long. Your clients and colleagues will need to hear from you. You need to be in constant communication, but you schedule that communication at times which are amenable to you. The second reason for scheduling blocks of times is that you're going to work better because you know that you have a time schedule to get back to the people who are calling you. You don't have to think so much about that flashing light on the answering machine. You don't let it bug you. So you say, hey, I'm going to deal with it. If you have a plan to attend to it, that's going to make you feel more confident, relaxed. And you have a schedule that you can follow. So here's the schedule that I recommend. Block off 3 half-hour blocks of time for making your calls. Make one group of calls in the morning before you start work. Make another group of calls after lunch, and then make your third group of calls when you get home. When you are home, actually. Make that third group of calls before you go to bed or after you've eaten dinner and you relax a little bit. Number 4, have someone else answer the phone for you. Not everyone can afford a personal assistant, but ask yourself who lives nearby where you can ask them to give you a little bit of relief from the phone distractions. Do you have a family member, a teenager, who can answer those phone calls from you when they come home? If so, you can put a telephone line in their room, and for a couple of hours while they're doing their homework, they can take messages for you. You pay them a little salary, and they'll appreciate it a great deal, and you'll appreciate the quiet that you get. It's going to be worth every penny to you. And number 5, encourage people to contact you by email. Assure them that this is the fastest and most reliable way for you to get your communications from them. They'll get your attention. Email can be distracting in and of itself, but the beauty of email is that you can log in when you want to, you log out when you want to, and you don't have to deal with the interruptions. Okay? You can scan your emails for those things that you have to deal with immediately, respond to those, and get back to the other ones later. So plan your time. Plan your emails, plan your telephone consultations, plan the callbacks. These are the 5 solutions that I can give you today to help you with your time management. And you manage your interruptions. It's not going to be difficult, but it does take discipline. So now you know how to eliminate the telephone interruptions in your work at home business. Make your plan now. Stick with it. You'll be glad you did.